YouTube, back at it again with another underrated video. And I'm not gonna lie, I've been sleeping on ChatGPT. Reason why I haven't used it is due to when I was in school, teachers would complain about students not actually doing their essays and having the AI write their essays for them. And I was like, yeah, nah, I'm not doing that. I'm legit. If I get a D, I'm gonna get a D because of me, not because the AI wrote me a terrible essay and I didn't really read it over. But now that I've used it, it's pretty game changing for real. I would say using it kind of feels like a power up or a shortcut that can be found in a video game. It just makes the process of brainstorming and finding out information a lot easier compared to just using regular Google, especially now that Google's more trash than it was like years ago. Now I'll try to look up information or find out facts about something I'm looking at, a purchase, something involving history, how to do different business things, and it won't really give me the information that I'm trying to see for real, or give me the process for it. It will give me a cookie cutter blog or posts that a popular website has made, but not the real in-depth information that I'm looking. And that's pretty annoying. One of the big reasons why I wasn't using the app previously was because of all the movies from the 80s and 90s in the past, and they would talk about how AI is evil, going to take over the world, like iRobot. What was the other one? 1984. Well, it wasn't necessarily technology being evil, but that was about talking about the government. But you know, the government and big tech, they're kind of like 1-1. You got Elon Musk and Donald Trump. They're like best friends, and that man gave him a seat in the government. It's like, yeah, this is looking very, very extremely questionable. But that's another reason why I didn't want to use it. But for the way that I use it, I feel like it's pretty legit. You don't want to overly rely on it, but it would be a nice little thing that, you know, you use here and there for certain processes that you're trying to understand more, that you go to someone or you look up on the internet and it doesn't really explain to you how to do. I'm not gonna lie, I kind of wish I started using this a little bit earlier for some of the business questions and facts and processes that I wanted to understand more, because if I just use the app, then I would understand the blueprint for how to go about achieving these things that I want. Not necessarily trying to do the thinking for me, but giving me the blueprint so that I can achieve the goal that I want for myself. That's something I feel is very slept on and underrated. But some of the reasons I like it, like using ChatGPT, is like I was just talking about, for the blueprint making. When it comes to making your blueprint, you know, trying to figure out how to do something, no one really explains to you how to do it. They just tell you to do it, and then you have to figure it out from trial and error. But the thing that is super, super cool about ChatGPT is that it will give you the step-by-step guide on how to follow through all the things that you need to do for the process so that you can achieve your goal. And I'm like, bro, this is actually insane. In one of the self-help books that I have, Atomic Habit, it talks about how, I don't remember word for word, but basically in my own words, winners and losers, they both have goals. But the thing that separates the winners and the losers is because one person has a blueprint, or they have a plan to follow to achieve the goal that they want. The other person, they just have a goal. If both people have a goal, but one person has steps to achieve said goal, the other person is just there like, oh yeah, I have this thing that I want to do, and I want to do it. The person that has the blueprint is taking steps towards it is going to be able to achieve their goal compared to the person who's not. And using the app, you get a better understanding on how to do like anything, like how to start a business, how to read the books you want, how to learn more about finance. You learn all these things and it gives you a blueprint for it, like a blueprint to follow so that you can achieve the thing that you want. So right off of that, right off the bat with that is like the best thing to me about this app. Instead of you having to go to different people that really don't know or don't have an understanding, at least when you go to ChatGPT, it will give you the groundwork and the fundamental understanding of the processes and steps that need to be taken to get you to where you want to be. And that's something I feel like is invaluable. Next positive that I have about ChatGPT is when it comes to shopping and buying products. I'm not gonna lie, I'm a nerd. I like buying controllers, headsets, you know, stuff like that. I've been trying to cut down because we're in a recession that is not deemed a recession, but it is a recession. And so I was trying to get a new controller because I had my original Xbox Series X controller. It was cool, but I'm like, I kind of want some more features. So I was trying to compare two controllers I was looking at. One was the 8BitDo 3-way controller, and the other one was the Xbox Wolverine V2. I had the Chroma. I didn't like it because the back paddles were weird. And bro, what no one talks about on these controllers, like these advanced pro controllers, when you can swap out the thumbsticks, when you swap out the thumbsticks and you can change it, you can actually feel the thumbsticks moving around inside the controller. And it's super distracting when you're trying to play the game. So as you're trying to play an FPS, or when I was trying to play Elden Ring, I can feel the joystick, the thumbsticks moving around as I'm doing it. This just made it really annoying. Like, I couldn't super concentrate all the way I wanted on the game because I kept feeling the sticks move around. So I wanted one that wasn't as advanced. So I was comparing the two controllers because one guy I found, he was selling on eBay for like $35, and I found another guy who was selling the V2 Chroma for like $50. So it's not full price, but it's still, I want to get a better understanding. And if you watch people do reviews on YouTube, not that many people are talking about the 8BitDo 3-way. And for the V2 Chroma, people like it, but they're like, it's too much money because it's wired. And I'm like, well, I'm not getting it at the full price, so I want to get a better understanding of the controllers. And then from putting it into ChatGPT, I was able to really see and understand the differences between the two controllers, and like how basically, from my understanding from everything I got from ChatGPT, on how the V2 Wolverine is more the competitive controller and the 8BitDo 3-way is the more casual controller. And it kind of depends on what you're looking for. Do you want a controller that's more versatile, that you can use anywhere, but at the same time being a little bit more casual? Or do you want something that you can just use on two platforms, but it's more competitive and it's more higher level? Like, it has a higher latency and is a more premium product compared to the 8BitDo. But I still feel like 8BitDo is a little better when it comes to regular controllers. I would rather get the 8BitDo to replace my Xbox controller, just because you get the controller, you get a charging dock, and you have wireless with it. So you get all of those in one. So you can use it on your Xbox, PlayStation, and your phone. And you have back paddles. And it has Hall effect. And it has a tactile D-pad. You know, all of these things for, I don't know, I think they were selling it for $60. But again, this guy, he's selling it for $35. But I like using the app because I was able to find out like all this information and get all of these crucial key components. So I was able to understand, so I could pick the thing that I actually wanted for real. And I went with the V2 because I'm playing Dead by Daylight, and I'm playing like my other games like Elden Ring, Dark Souls, games like that. And I always feel now that I'm working more jobs that I'm a casual gamer, until I start playing for real, and I'm like, no, I am I am very much not casual. I am very, very competitive. I want the dub. I don't take the L. I don't want the L. I want to win. Third point that I really like about ChatGPT is understanding local laws. And that is something, again, I feel like is super uber slept on. So when it comes to understanding your local laws and laws around you, one thing that I really like about ChatGPT is that when it comes to understanding your local laws, it makes it very simple to understand. I always heard an expression from TV shows when I was younger. They would talk about how you need to have two friends in your life. You need to have one friend that's a doctor. You need to have one friend that's a lawyer. And unfortunately, in my life, I never became friends with either one of those people. I never hung around people that had the aspiration to be doctors. Matter of fact, that's a lie. I did talk to one girl who wanted to be a doctor in high school, and I did like her. Like, I was cool with her, but I don't know, her parents were crazy, and she was like, yeah, I'm not allowed to talk to boys in front of my parents. Like, they'll start flipping out. And I was like, what? And she was like, yeah. And I really like this girl. But yeah, that was one doctor. I couldn't mess with her like that. There was another girl I knew, actually, she was trying to be a nurse. She was a workaholic. It was crazy. I've never heard of that. How were you trying to be a nurse, but you put in more effort and energy into being a server at a crab hut? Insanity. But anyways, that's a story for another day. But yes, I never became friends with either one of these people. Well, either one of these job types. But with ChatGPT, I feel like I don't necessarily all the way need the lawyer. I mean, you still need one if you get in trouble, but you don't need to be friends with one for any questions or issues that you have, because it makes it like a lot simpler, especially when you give more information about yourself. You're able to understand like what's going on, how things work, how things are going to be looked at for your state and everything. And I feel like that's something that's very valuable that can't really be replaced. I feel like it's very bueno, very good. And the last reason I like ChatGPT from using it is that it gives you a strong understanding and foundation, and it gives you strong, oh my god. ChatGPT gives you a strong understanding and a good baseline knowledge point for something that you're unfamiliar with. So if there's I talked about this earlier, but we're going to harp on it a little bit more because this is just how good this is. If you really don't understand something, but you're trying to understand it to a degree and find out more information on it, I feel like this is what ChatGPT is good for. not to completely give you all the information you need, but to give you enough information so that you kind of understand. And then as you learn more, then you already have a strong foundation from ChatGPT. That is what I feel like it's really good at. Foundational information, not bragging rights information. Bragging rights information only really comes from when you actually know about something for real. Not you learned it from the AI and you're like, oh no, I know. And it's like, bro, no, you don't know. But from that, now it's time to get into the negatives. I was just about to talk about it. I didn't want to give it away too early though. Like one thing that's negative, I remember I learned from, I think, Mental Outlaw, some other people I watch on YouTube, some other tech heads, but hallucination. I have not quite seen ChatGPT hallucinate. I haven't seen it, but I've seen a lot of examples of people doing stuff with AI and then it telling them to like kill themselves or telling them something crazy like eating dirt helps your teeth get white. It will just give you information that doesn't really make all the way sense. I haven't personally seen that for me using it, but I do know about it from other people that have talked about it. So that is one negative thing that I would say about ChatGPT. The other thing I super didn't like. So I'm like, okay, this AI seems pretty good. Let me try to get some more information, right? So one thing I was told, I know about, is how if you owe money to the government, you owe money on your taxes, right? Now keep this is, I know about this, but I kind of don't know about it for real. One thing that you could do is you owe money, is you keep your money in an offshore account. That way, it's not attached to any of the U.S. banks. So if the government comes knocking and they're trying to get money from you, you just look at them like, bro, what do you mean I have no money for you? Like, look at my accounts. My accounts don't have money like that. But that's because all your actual money are going to these other accounts, and it's not over here. So that way, if they look at it, because they go through all your records, like if you have a bank account, the government and everybody can go to your bank account and see all the money that you have and the transactions and everything that are within it. But if you don't have any money in that and you keep your money somewhere else, they can't see it, then they can't get it. And I was like, oh, okay. So let me try to understand, like, again, like I said, the whole blueprint thing. So I'm like, yo, let me try to go into the app to understand more how this process works. This thing flagged me and was like, yo, you're going against our terms of use. We can't tell you that information. We can't do these things. And I'm like, what do you mean? This is what I need to know for real. You can't hide the good stuff from me. And I was just like, see. Then I started trying this with some other questions that I had, and ChatGPT just was not giving me the truthful answers. Like one thing, when I was asking about I asked it about the the Xbox Elite Series 2 controller. And this thing painted this controller like it was godlike, like it was just saving children. Everyone who used it became a believer of Xbox Nation. It was insane. And it really didn't talk about how the controller has horrible quality control. Every person I've seen do a review on this controller on YouTube has talked about how this controller is just super utterly and totally unreliable. But ChatGPT said nothing about it. And I was just like, this is a little suspicioso. So you can't take everything it says as truthful. Like, again, this is why I say good for baseline information, not good for bragging rights knowing information. It will not give you 100% of the sauce. It will give you plain sauce. You have to add your own seasoning to it. Another thing I don't like about ChatGPT is that it follows popular opinion. It doesn't really give you big unknown facts about a topic. The AI just kind of gives you basic information that other people kind of talk about, but it doesn't really go in depth with like the juicy facts about it. It just kind of gives you the top underlying thing, but doesn't give you like the whole consensus, the whole unpopular opinion, or giving you the full grand scope of the question that you have. It will just give you the baseline. You're like, okay, I'll just take that. And the last thing that I don't like about ChatGPT is overly relying on it. So let's say if you're sitting there, last thing I do not like about ChatGPT is how a person can overly rely upon the app and not actually do their own creative or process thinking for themselves. This will create the person to not really have a strong understanding of how to think, understanding their own thoughts, or being their own unique individual when it comes time to, because you become so reliant upon this machine to do your thinking for you, you're not able to think for yourself. Therefore, lowering your problem solving ability and rational capability and thinking due to relying on something else. It's like I said, it's better to have to use it for a understanding of a situation and the fundamental knowledge rather than to rely to do all of your thinking for you. Because like I said earlier, if you're trying to get information from it and you just rely on it, it's not going to give you all aspects of the situation. So it's still up to you as an individual to find that out for yourselves. But with these points made, I feel like the app is pretty good. A good solution for getting a better understanding on topics or situations going on with you. Just use the app to help you with your thinking, not to do your thinking for you. Oh, and one last thing. It's actually pretty funny. I did this a couple times. If you put AI speak into another AI, it's going to get really confused and not know what to do. It's going to look at this like, what is this? This is like my distant cousin. I don't know what to do with this information. That's pretty funny. So AI can't fix AI, even though Amazon is trying to get warehouses that only have robots in them. But robots can't super fix other robots because then they'll get confused. Well, that's it. That's my video.